taught you to hate the color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Most of us blacks, or Negroes as he called us, really thought we were free without being aware that in our subconscious, all those chains we thought had been struck off were still there. And there were many ways where what really motivated us was our desire to be loved by the white man. Malcolm meant to lance that sense of inferiority. He knew it would be painful. He knew that people could kill you because of it, but he dared to take that risk.
He was saying something over and above that of any other leader of that day. While the other leaders were begging for entry into the house of their oppressor, he was telling you to build your own house.
Look, y'all all right? Now, whether you know it or not, our young men are cold today. Wait now. These young brothers, see that walk? They're not playing. They'll kill concrete. Young black man is so bad he'll burn water. He's mean. What made him so cold? That they can open fire on one another. And people burying their dead and the brother he's not moved by it. You say it's terrible. It's so terrible what our children are doing. You're right. Well, what's more terrible is the reason why they're doing it. Give me a few more minutes. I'm almost finished. The street constitutes an institution. In the same way that the church, the family, and the school are conceived as institutions. The streets have a set of values and norms to govern and reinforce their existence. The social structure of the street lacks the sophistication that these other institutions have. Nevertheless, it is an institution because it helps to shape and control behavior. And it is on the streets where the black child receives his basic orientation to life. The streets have become his primary reference point because other institutions have failed to provide him with the essential skills that he needs to survive. So he must undergo a rigorous apprenticeship that will enable him to compensate for the lack of guidance from the church, from the home, from the school, from institutions and adults. He becomes a student of the asphalt jungle because that is where he can learn the skills that he needs, and the instructors consist of hustlers, pimps, street men, gang leaders, working men that have it hard in civilization, militant criminals. And though these men do not have master's or PhD degrees, their credentials have been earned from actual experience and not from the sterile laboratories of formal academic institutions. So when a young man comes out of jail and comes back home, he's met by his peers. Hey, my man, you back, baby, run on. He said, yeah, I'm back. He's more mean now than he was before. Because he survived jail, he got some extra credentials. Am I lying, brothers? When you come in with your PhD degree, they say, here come this faggot. He walking all proper. Now, boys, you must not get involved in these gang activities. You must work hard and go to school and be a good boy. And remember what Jesus said. And a man that has been learned in the street, he said, man, look, take that garbage somewhere else. So today the children rob the church and beat the preacher.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to the No PC show. It's Thursday night. Forgive us, we're a few minutes late. It's always hard when you got your own business. I'm even a little tilted here. Let me adjust my camera. Okay. A little tilted here. Well, as everybody know, I have my own store, RPC Computing. 1741 East 71st Street, Chicago, Illinois. 773-966-4457 for all your computing and print needs. Okay, just had to get that out the way. Again, thanks for joining tonight. We want to send our condolences out to the Jackson and the Calhoun family on the loss of their family members who happen to be friends of mine. Everybody, you know, take care of your health. We have a health group also called Soda Free on Facebook, and we've been going strong for over 10 years now. We don't ask a lot, but, you know, we just want everybody to have a healthy life. So bless those that have passed on from us. The topic tonight is called The Pain That Leads to Destruction. It's kind of funny that today the superintendent of police, Eddie Johnson, retired today. I don't know if it's because of Trump riding his back or the investigations or whatever. But in Chicago, we have such a high crime rate, and I got into a conversation with my cousin the other day, and we were talking about the behaviors, and some people find it necessary to do crime in order to live and survive. And a lot of us can identify with that, but we still can't accept it. We all know you put that one apple in the bottom of that barrel, and it's going to destroy a lot of apples. We have people on the Facebook side, Jimmy and Lawrence. If you like, the only way you can see the things that we present on the screen is to come to the YouTube side of things at the No PC Show. All one word, type that in, log in, subscribe, or subscribe and click the notification button so wherever you're at, you can catch us. We have a dial-in phone number that you can see on the screen when you're on the YouTube side. You can't see it on the Facebook side. So, like I say, it's the topic tonight is called The Pain That Leads to Destruction. And me and my cousin got into this conversation. And, you know, we could come up with scenarios that really made it bad. There was just a bad situation that the kid took to the street and start selling drugs or getting involved in a whole bunch of bad stuff. Even with those situations, it's still wrong. And it's wrong from the standpoint of you can't build yourself up by tearing other people down. We got to get beyond the point of it's okay to destroy our brothers and sisters for our own gain. Because a lot of these people that say they went out there because they had no other choice, okay, you make this money and then you're buying gym shoes, jacking up your money on clothes, and all this. So you did all this because, okay, this is an easier route. I believe most of the people out there hustling are very smart. It takes a lot to put that much energy into selling drugs. But selling drugs leads to a whole bunch of other stuff. Selling drugs leads to murder in a lot of instances. It definitely leads to the destruction of the community and the neighborhoods. I talked to some young men one night and I said, so you guys are fighting to see who gets the opportunity to destroy the neighborhood. No, I'm not supporting either one of you all because you don't own the neighborhood and you're only destroying the neighborhood, which will devalue the neighborhood, and then those other people will come in. But as my grandmother always said, it's not the place, it's the people. And it's not all the people, but we have to address it. In the last few months in Chicago, we have seen a mother of 4 killed. There was another young lady, a high school student, killed. Just last night, we had a 53-year-old grandmother killed. No, you can't shoot in the neighborhood. I don't care if you starving like Marvin. I have this belief, if people see you trying, people will look out for you or try to look out for you the best they can. I can remember being young and my grandmother would find out that someone in the building or the complex that we lived in didn't have food. Go on down there, invite them people up for a meal. We might not be able to feed them every day, but they ain't got no food. We don't do that. We don't love brothers and sisters no more. It's all out for self. Now, I agree that we were taught that type of behavior from the moment we got here. The family structure was destroyed, so any semblance of family, we hold on to tightly now. But we can't support the behavior that we see. I've got a clip I want to share. It's Farrakhan, and hopefully it plays right because, like I say, I was rushing in and trying to get it together. Again, on the Facebook side, we actually have a link there. If you click on that link, it will take you to the YouTube page. And, we got a whole bunch of people over on Facebook, but, we're trying to get people over on the YouTube side. But we'll continue the multi-broadcast until it is what it is. So in this clip I'm going to play, it talks about the reason that all this mayhem and stuff is happening in our lives. So let me cue it up. And we'll be right back. I think it's about 3 or 4 minutes long, so we'll be right back after this.
Brothers, we're all in pain. Yeah. The man of God, he got his Bible, but he's in pain. The Muslim, he got his Quran, he's in pain. The agnostic ain't got no Bible, no Quran, don't believe in no God, but he in pain. Gangbangers in pain. All of us are in pain. Community is filled with pain and filled with drugs. Filled with pain and no power, now filled with guns. Mao Zedong said, power grows out of the barrel of a gun. So when you put a gun in a powerless young black man's hands, he got his hand on something now that gives him power. He's hungry for power. The nature that the Bible said God created him in, God gave him in the beginning power. But the white man took away from you power. Now you're trying to get it back, but you don't know how. So they sell you a gun. You didn't go to the gun store and get it, because they wouldn't sell it to you at the gun store. But you got it on the market, the white market. And they sold you a weapon. And they knew you were not going to be involved in a drive-by shooting in the white neighborhood. You were not going to do carjacking in the white neighborhood. They know that the more guns they put in your hand, you would begin to terrorize your own neighborhood. So it's guns and drugs and jobless men. Guns and drugs and pain-filled men. Guns and drugs and bitter, frustrated men. Guns and drugs and men with no creative mind. Guns and drugs and a man that is not really a man of his own destiny.
That's what we're talking about. The path that leads to destruction. And even though it may start with the white man in America, it ends with us. I wrote a poem a long time ago, and I didn't have time to bring it up, but I'll give you the breakdown of what it says. It talks about the same thing that he was just saying, how they took us, destroyed us culturally, then tried to destroy us mentally, because they were very successful at destroying us physically during the Jim Crow era. When you take a group of people and you economically deprive them, and then you control where they can live, and then you put all this poverty on top of each other, yes, it's going to create a situation. I always say that poverty is a economic problem with social ramifications. We understand people are not going to starve, even if they had to go out and commit a crime to do everything, but that's what they want you to do. Isn't that what we're taught? They want you to pick up the gun. They want you to sell the drugs. They want you to be in the game, because all this leads to the penitentiary or the graveyard. It doesn't make you a productive person. And then when you're killing innocent people that had nothing to do, the one woman we were talking about earlier was heading home from church, doing her community services, helping people, not out here shooting and killing people. They didn't have a lot of money, trying to take care of her family. Now she's gone. The grandmother last night worked at a daycare. Everybody loved her in the community. She was trying to uphold stuff. She's gone. The two young women that would sit out in Inglewood so the kids could come out and play, which they still haven't caught these people, a drive-by happens and both of them are killed. I don't understand why the women were out there and the men weren't out there. That was one of the first paths that they did to disarm us. Let's put the women in charge. Let's make the women seem like they are the heads of the black family, because we would never go for that in our white families. No, we're white. We're the heads of the family. That's the way it is. That's how it runs in pretty much everything. So we destroyed these people, took away the ability to be took the protector out of the home, basically. Deprived them of economic possibilities, unless you're ready to step and fetch, unless you're ready to put on these tap shoes, unless you're ready to capitulate to the system. You can talk all that power to the people shit you want. We will destroy you. You can see it in FBI documentation where they said, be on the lookout for a black messiah that could motivate the people. So your government waged war against you and then backdoored you with immigrants in this country. It's amazing. The immigrants don't seem to have any type of problems getting all the financial aid and everything they need. They have no problem getting it. But you, black man, there's a hang up. And immigrants, they're going to take it. They're going to be like, Psh, I'm from a war-torn country. Now, they're from a country that doesn't have as many killings as Chicago has yearly. Do you qualify for any type of compensation like that? Do you get your free education stipend? Do you get your free home stipend? No, you don't get anything. You get persecuted. So yes, there's a whole big background that goes into this. The only thing we have really is knowledge. But knowledge is supposed to translate into power. But it doesn't translate into love. And I tell people, it's okay to love your brothers and sisters. You can't help your brothers and sisters if you don't love your brothers and sisters. Maya Angelou says that, she says, without courage, you cannot practice any other type of philosophy. It takes courage to love your brother who's out here doing dumb shit, and you got to call him on it. It takes, hey, a lot of times the criminals are the ones that's kind of taking care of the family. And there was a point in time where those were the only ones that were really surviving out here. If you didn't have anything, even if you went and fought for your country, my grandfather tells me the story, and he's still alive. He's 96. He was in World War II. So he tells me about the experiences of how these white people in the army still belittled them. When they got back to America, they were still treated like second, third class citizens. They were denied a lot of the things that were supposed to happen with being taken care of as soldiers. And they kind of felt like fools. So he said he never wanted to work for any of these people again in life. He said he went and fought for this country, and this country kicked him in the ass. And that's what they do to us every day. And they can do it because what you gonna do? You all have spent your whole life here trying to compensate with us, trying to become Americans, when we had already told you we don't want you to be Americans. We brought you niggas here for one purpose, and that was to help build America. Then we freed you all, took all the money. There's the movie Harriet Tubman just came out. You know, I tell people it's up to you if you want to go see it or not. They created some false things inside the movie. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but they added things into the movie. I guess Hollywood will do that. But that's what they did to us. They created the storyline that they wanted us to hear. So if you take your kids, you might want to investigate a little bit so you can talk to your kids about it, about the movie. Like I said, I'm tempted to tell you about those parts, but no, I know it's still new, so everybody should go out and see it and then form your own opinions. But we know who controls Hollywood and decides what type of movies get made, and the bottom line is money there. So just like they created that scenario in the Harriet Tubman movie, your destination in America was determined. Unless, if you can capitulate and follow the rules of the society that we have set up, if you put your kids in these systems and don't try to fight the power, don't buck the system, work with us. Why would you work against us? I mean, we're going to allow you to be second-class citizens. don't try to come together as a unit. Don't try to develop any type of cultural standing. Fuck all that. Take care of you and your kids, and fuck the rest of these niggas. Let them get it on their own. Because we gonna destroy them. I mean, the plan had already put in place. You took a whole bunch of people, destroyed them culturally and economically, and then you put dysfunctional adults into the world. And then you created all types of laws like the peon law that if you were just hanging around and you didn't have a job because you poor and black, let's arrest you and put you in jail for 2 or 3 years because you poor. Now you got a job that don't pay. And we going to give you the minimum amount to survive. If you get the opportunity, Oprah Winfrey did this one thing called the slave narratives. And they talked, I think it was done in 1910, 1917, somewhere around there, where they talked to all these former slaves who gave firsthand accounts of slavery and how horrific it was. But now in the history books, let's change the story. Let's say that they were immigrants too. I missed the part where a biscuit fell on the floor and the mistress of the house told the little slave girl to throw it away, and the little slave girl decided, I'm going to take a couple of bites out this biscuit, and then the mistress beat her so bad where she had open sores. Then she poured salt in the sores, and then she beat her again. This is the damage that was done to us. Damaged people raise damaged people. And it's not making an excuse. And Obama got on TV the other day, and he was like, well, you know, just because you're woke doesn't get you anywhere. Well, him and Michelle and so many other blacks, and I love all our people. If you decided in your life that, hey, I'm going to go and be with Master, and I'm going to keep my mouth closed, and I'm going to get my money, and as long as my family taken care of, the part you're missing is we all families. The part you're missing is you can't build a house inside of a house. That's why you'll never get reparations screaming, we Americans. Americans don't get reparations. Why would Americans get reparations? No, it's only the African descendants of slaves that deserve reparation. But we still running around. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Well, they destroyed my culture and destroyed my character. That's what they did. They destroyed my culture and they tried to destroy my character. Well, a nigga was all I could ever be. Look at me, look at me. This nigga just trying to be free. I got a poem that I keep hanging in my shop. And I don't have it hanging here in the house. But it's called, They Want Me to Be a Nigga. And the first words of it says, I pledge allegiance to the un-United States of America, where they destroyed my culture and destroyed my character. I wake up every day with that code. They say, well, you know, all this talking, that's not going to get you anywhere. No, it's hard to get anywhere when there's so much pain that goes along with being black. There's so much of us that are suffering. We're surviving in a country that has money flowing. But we've been subjugated to a second, third class citizen status. And I tell people, hey, any individual can get out here and be successful. Yeah, I went to college, and I went to 4 different colleges. I got a job in the computer industry, and I traveled, and I did all this work. And then I got kicked in the ass and then I didn't get promoted. Just like so many others, I watched blacks that were in higher positions than me. Still didn't get promoted. Because that's not what corporate America's about. You see all the black girl magic going on now. It's amazing. But that's the way they wanted it. That's the way it's designed. We talked about that last week with the Willie Lynch letter. It was done by design, by putting the woman as the head of the household, and there's no knock on women. I don't think God made women the head of the household. I missed that part in the Bible. But it's hard for men to act like the head if you don't have the tools and the credentials to be the head. Then she's not going to allow you to be the head. If you can't pay the mortgage or do other things monetarily, because she looks at you and says, I get my money from the same place you get your money from. So you work with the white man, I work for the white man. So the white man is the king, because you haven't developed anything else. You haven't built your own homes within America. You haven't set your status up for your kids' future in America. What are you talking about, man? You better shut up and listen to your boss and do what your boss says. And if not, you can go down here and be with these niggas that's out here shooting, selling drugs, killing innocent people. I mean, that's what the show is about tonight. How do we get to the point where in our communities, in Chicago alone, we're averaging about, 600 murders a year? And it's been like that since I was a kid. When I was a kid, we were getting 900 murders. So in my lifetime, I can't say I've heard about 1 million murders in Chicago, but it's up there. You take at least 500,000 people have been killed in my lifetime in this city. And that's just this city. Throughout America, black men are being killed and incarcerated at such an accelerated rate that there's no catching up. And if we're not building our own things, our own structures, our own infrastructure, then we're doomed. We don't have an infrastructure. We don't. So if people want us to face the reality, okay, here's the reality. We don't have an economic infrastructure in America. We don't have the desire to build one because that would call for sacrifice from other people, from our people. And our people, we're not trying to do that. Hey, Kathy. So we're not trying to do that. This is already established. Let's work with this. That's what happened at the end when King got all these civil rights bills passed, and then he himself said, yeah, we were fighting for human rights. Now we're fighting for dignity. Because he realized everything that they promised us on that piece of paper was worthless. Because unless they were willing to rewrite the Constitution, they knew they were going to screw you over. So everything that was signed in 1965 was just watered down in 1966 when they passed the immigration bills. And so the immigrants started to get everything that you were supposed to get. And then our women got sucked into the women's movement, which was really just the white women's movement, because they were fighting to get from underneath their oppressive husbands. And so the black women teamed up with the white women, then the white women got everything they wanted, and then the white women skedaddled, and then they started becoming CEOs and all this type of stuff. We're always the pawns in this game in America. And I'm not trying to deter anybody from doing whatever you want to do. I'm just saying, really be woke about it. Don't fool yourself every morning that you go in with these people and think it's gravy, because it's not. I was in corporate America for 26 years. And I saw all the nonsense, all of it. During the Obama years, I always say that was the worst 8 years of my life in corporate America. When that market had crashed and everybody was losing their job, the majority of the people losing their job were black people. I saw white people getting moved around to different positions so they could keep their jobs, because most of the bosses were white. It becomes a disgusting thing that you have to swallow. And I know a lot of people that have to swallow. If you're black in corporate America, you're going to have to swallow some stuff, and you're going to have to do some stuff that doesn't sit right with your spirit. It's not going to sit right. But you do it so you can keep taking care of your kids, because that's the position they put us in. Survival mode. Maybe my kid will have a better opportunity. But how's your kid going to have a better opportunity if these other kids out here shooting and killing and selling drugs, and you think that they're not going to interact with your children? No, they're going to interact with your children more so than they're going to interact with their children, because they build a hedge around their children. There's no protection for us. We coming back to the hood. If we got family in the hood, that's what we do. Some people would consider where my shop is the hood, but I don't really consider it bad like that, because I already know if you live there, you already know it's not everybody. And you know who the players are. But how do you convince those players to somehow not come into a system that's corrupt, but to help develop another system? A lot of these cats out here, they got money by destroying other black people. I'm just not going to participate or give you that because you driving a nice car, because you created a couple of hundred crackheads, because you thought it was easier for this. I'm going to tell this true story. I always got a million stories. When I was in DeVry back in 1989, I met a young man, and we were both in school, and we were talking about student loans. And he like, man, I'm not taking out no student loans. I'm not about to be in debt. I'm out here doing what I got to do in these streets, and I'm going to pay off all my money in cash, and then I'm going to change my life. I like, more power to you. And he did it. I don't know how many lives he destroyed in the process, but he graduated, got a job, went on to become like a regional manager. That can happen. But most of these people out here you see doing this thing, they're not doing it because they're just hungry. They want to floss. They're not paying for no classes. No, they out here showing their asses. That's the way I look at it. Hey, people in my family too. I've had people in my family selling drugs and all types of stuff. Shit, I've sold a little weed, few pills, ran around with the gang, did all that, lived that type of life. But at a point, I did have to wake up at a certain point, and that's what we have to do for all these young people that are lost out here in the street that thinks that selling drugs and shooting and killing people is fine. This lady, this 53-year-old lady, she's younger than me, 53-year-old grandmother that was killed last night in Oakdale Gardens, had children, grandchildren, worked at a daycare. That's all over with. So you telling me so you can make a little funky $100 for the night, it was worth her dying? Or it was worth that young lady, the cheerleader, dying? Or it's worth that mother of four dying? Or all the countless stories that we hear of innocent people on Halloween. Little young girl gets shot in the neck. No, we cannot afford, and they not going to stop it. They don't give a damn about it. They're not going to stop that type of behavior. That's the type of behavior that is one of the things that is pulling us down into the dungeon of hell. Because who's telling these people, dude, that's not right? Well, I'm struggling. Then get your struggling butt up every morning. Get on the train, get on the bus, go learn something, go learn a trade. Stop telling me about the man holding you down and all that. No, in order to hold somebody down, you got to get on the ground with them. So if you stop staying on the ground and wrestling him and change your mindset and your mentality, then you'll start getting up. And don't worry, he's going to keep trying to knock you down. He's going to keep trying to knock you down at every point. At every point you think you're successful in his system, he's going to knock you down. And he's going to say, start over again. I give this analogy. I say when we're dealing with these people, say that's a 100-yard race, and you win that 100-yard race by 10 yards. They'll look at your shoes and say, your shoelaces were untied. That disqualifies you. White man wins again. Thank you. Sorry, you're disqualified. That's how ridiculous it is. So I can't actually tell a lot of these young people about the system that exists now for them. I can tell them, well, you can go and make some money and plan to get out in about 7 years. You know, get you a business license while you're in college, because education is important. We can't say don't get an education. You need an education. A lot of times college is about opening your horizons and seeing difference than what's going on the blocks. I always kept a little funky job, and sometimes I would catch 2 trains and 2 buses to get to a job. That's the mentality you got to get to say, I'm not finna stay on this block no more. I'm not about to stay out here and waste my life with you all. I'm not about to get caught up with these drugs. I'm not about to get involved in any of that. I'm about to be a man and do some man stuff and go and get my education and go get me a job. Well, you know, I was locked up and everything. Okay, was your brain locked up? You out now. So if you out now, you better have a plan to stay out now. And that means if you got to go take some free classes at the library or whatever, I'm just sick and tired of people and their excuses. I'm teaching myself how to code right now. We got to stop making the excuses, and we got to start trying, and we got to start building, and we got to start, you know, raising these kids ourselves. Don't let the judicial system raise them. Don't let the social worker raise them. We got to raise them. We got to talk to them. So where I'm at in South Shore, 1741 East 71st Street, I have people coming in all the time, and I'll have a deep conversation with some of these young people, because sometimes they just want to talk. Sometimes they need direction on how they're going to go, because a lot of them are lost, because we haven't given them anything to look forward to. We have few businesses. Our businesses, we rarely work together to create more of a structure. I love riding through Chinatown, because every business in Chinatown is ran by Chinese. Everyone, not some, not 75%, all the businesses in Chinatown are ran by Chinese. But they'll tell you, if you dare to say Black Town, look at you, you're reverse racist. We're all one now. You're an American. That's all BS. Because if we was all one, then you should have rewrote the Constitution. If we're all one, all those treaties that you put up there, the 1866, which Byron Allen is going to the Supreme Court on the 13th, you would have honored all these things. There would have been no Jim Crow. There wouldn't have been 5,000 lynchings that nobody went to jail for. There wouldn't have been any supposed riots. I don't know what they call them riots when you all were just pillaging and mayheming and killing black folks. So don't come and try to sell me this American dream of we're all one. We're not. Now, when you decide to write a check, and don't be sitting up there like Bernie Sanders talking about, no, I don't think that will work because it's going to cost money. So Martin Luther King said, it didn't cost America nothing to integrate a coffee counter. It didn't cost you nothing to integrate the schools. But now to make it right with black people and to write those checks, now it's going to cost this nation something. And this nation ain't ready to pay. And that's the truth. Love, peace, soul. We out of here.
Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car.
Do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove
I
you.
refuse to talk to you other than to identify myself.
Step
If you're woman, ain't no revolutionary should persuade you to be a fucking slave for the rest of your days. Should be grooming you on how to behave, teaching you how to coon and buck dance so that you can be safe. If that brother ain't no rider, soldier, no provider, molder of young minds, check it out. You got yourself a bitch. Think about the time that you invested in him. If he's wearing them skinny jeans, you a lesbian. For every 100 black women who ain't locked up, it's only 83 black men remain. Take away 1.5 million black men who might have benefited their women and their children. You don't know a war when it's waged against you, when it makes you drive your baby mama to the clinic just to kill your own. Ain't no legacy to leave behind, cause ain't nobody sitting on your throne. You motherfuckers are asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't stop, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, you asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't fight, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, nigga. Sandra Bland was a rider. She wouldn't have committed suicide, and you a motherfucking liar. It would not be wise to stop when you hear sirens and you see the police behind you, but you don't wanna die. They gon' shoot you if you run. They gon' say that you was going for the police gun. That's why they shot you like 120 times, but you was still coming, so they put another bullet in your lung. Them devils got you praying while they murder, because they know you on that bullshit. They steady with them bull clips and body armor. They kill your women in the street, cause they figure you too weak to do anything about it. You some shit, getting fucked in your sleep. They poison you every time you brush your teeth. You don't care, you behave like a slave. A bitch from the cradle to the grave, on your knees with your hands out, begging cause you won't. You motherfuckers are asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't stop, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, you asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't fight, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, nigga.
Straight bullshit, and you full of shit. Full of straight shit.
Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga.
If you just listen.
Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga.
You were getting a warning. Until now, you're going to jail.
I'm getting it for what?